Welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast. For anyone who wants to build and grow a career in IT, develop and improve your strengths and skills, be inspired and motivated by the successes of others, manage your career progression, and achieve your IT career goals. And now, your host, Phil Burgess.
Welcome to episode 228 of the IT Career Energizer podcast. My guest on today's show has a keen interest in web development, code, machine learning, psychology, business, and startups. He has been writing code since he was a kid, often typing out magazine code listings and then changing the code to see how they behaved. He's currently a Microsoft .NET Senior Developer, a Microsoft AI Most Valuable Professional, and a STEM Ambassador. So welcome to the podcast, Jamie Maguire.
Hey Phil, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for joining me. So I really wanted to ask you about your interest in particular in AI and what triggered that?
My interest in AI goes back to about 2012, 2013, and I was working on a research project as part of a university initiative, and I was doing all this whilst I was in full-time employment. The output of that initiative, a research project, was an API that I could point at social media data and extract, particular data signals, whether it be sentiment analysis or text classification and keywords. And that took me down a little bit of an AI rabbit hole because I had to get to grips with concepts such as like part-of-speech tagging, text classification, and data mining and data cleansing. And that's what sort of started it, really. It just morphed from then onwards.
And you've become a Microsoft AI Most Valuable Professional as well. It's something I wasn't aware of.
Yeah. So that's that came a few years later. And what happened was after that initiative, I started to join a few dots. Okay, and I thought that this API could actually be something. So I built a web front end to sit in front of this API, so users could visualize the data, and they could see spikes and dips in relation to particular search terms that they could configure this product to look for. And I started to write about these activities on my blog, and it just so happened to be that around about 2016, so 3 years had passed by this point. I was still working on this as a kind of pet project. Twitter had an initiative, an ad tech initiative, where they were looking for startups and businesses to build solutions on top of their APIs. So I started to build solutions in and around that, adapting my APIs to consume theirs. I started to write about that. And it was around about this time that Microsoft started to really push their tech stack in terms of like Azure and cognitive services. And I started to notice some similarities with the stuff that I was trying to do. So what I'd done was I started to experiment with those APIs that Microsoft had been releasing, and started to integrate those with the software that I was building, and found that I was just able to build the software much quicker. Again, I started to write about that, document it in my blog, everything that I was learning, and just share that with the other people in the community. And that started to catch other people's attention. And then before I knew it, I had been nominated to be a Microsoft MVP in AI. Now, at the time, there was like less than 10 in the UK. And you typically get that award for just sharing knowledge with the community, whether it be through writing or speaking and what have you, and just sharing knowledge. And through that sort of program, we get access to cutting edge tech and get to grow our network and what have you. So that's kind of like an overview of the program and how I got to that.
And you're obviously a STEM ambassador as well. So what do you do in that area?
Yeah. So that's just been a recent thing, and what that does is basically giving back to the community and trying to get people engaged in STEM activities. My focus area is IT and software development, and it's a volunteering thing. So it's an initiative that anybody can join. You create an account and you look for opportunities to pass on your knowledge and your skills with people that are or organizations or schools that are local to you. So those activities can be anything from, teaching kids how to code, helping and supporting schools with mock interviews. There's just like a whole range of other activities that you can be involved in. So naturally, the government are really trying to push the uptake of STEM activities, and it's an important area that I think can be challenging for some people to get into, but at the other side of it, it can be equally rewarding. It's for a good cause, really.
It is. Yeah, I still feel there's a weakness in our educational system when it comes to STEM in particular. I mean, schools in my particular area, there's very little focus on technology and IT courses and so forth.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember going back, way back when I was at school, it was like once a week we got access to a computer and that was it.
Yep.
I don't know what it's really like on the ground like these days, but I think it is getting better. But I think there's still more that can be done, and that's what this whole initiative is about. And it's about bringing in people from industry and not just academia, and helping the school interface with people in the quote unquote real world, and how STEM gets deployed in a professional environment, and everybody wins out of it.
Yes. Okay. So, Jamie, can you perhaps share with us a career tip, one that the audience may not know about and perhaps should?
So there's a few there's cliche ones like work hard and be transparent and all those sort of things. And I've thought a bit about this, and I don't have one. I've got like a kind of ethos or short collection of things that have helped me. I would say that the main one is, especially in today's tech world, is being able to learn quickly, apply it, and then adapt if you need to. And that is a kind of theme that I try and live that every day, every week when I'm building code or building systems or designing them or what have you. And you've got to be comfortable with learning new skills, really, I think, especially in today's job market where whole industries are being disrupted, especially with the likes of AI. I think that job security is not quite what it used to be. So being able to move quickly and learn is a big thing.
Yeah, it is very much so. I totally agree with you. Yeah. And Jamie, can you share with us your worst IT career moments and what you learned from that experience?
I've been fortunate, in that most of the projects that I've been on have been generally successful. But what I would say is there was a point in time when I was in a pretty politicised environment, and we were working with a lot of nearshore and offshore development teams, and I would travel quite a bit as well. I was technically, I was cutting code, but I was also doing a little bit of man management as well. And managing all of that was pretty difficult, But whilst all this was going on, I was like halfway through this master's degree and research project that I was working on. And to compound all, I was dealing with a pretty difficult family situation that was sinking me into quite a bit of debt. And this went on for quite a number of years, And in the end up, I had to leave, and I ended up on contract, and we delivered the projects, but I ended up having to break out on my own for about a year just to repair some of the costs that I had incurred. And it was highly stressful. It was a bit of a nightmare situation, really. It wasn't a good time. But we delivered the project, and I went on to do other things, and so that was a bad time.
Sure. Is there anything you took away from that as a positive?
What I would say, and this is for anybody that's listening and anybody who's dealing with a situation that they feel that they can't get through, what I would say is with enough grit and determination and discipline, you can deal with almost anything. There's light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what situation you're in, and there's always a way around whatever obstacle that you're dealing with, whether that be on a project basis or a personal basis. I learned through all of that, when all hell's breaking loose, you just got to try and keep a cool head and create your own stability and routine, and not veer off any paths or make any rash decisions. And, finally, on that point, what I would say is that in situations like that, it's important for you to carve out time, look after yourself, take care of yourself, whether that be working out, going to the gym, playing sport, just totally having a cut off from technology, or even just getting away.
Yeah, I think the health aspect in particular is very important.
Yeah, 100%. And I think especially like in the stuff with the stuff that we do, it's so easy to get caught up in, spending a lot of time in front of the screen. And if you're not sitting at a desk in front of a monitor or a laptop, chances are you're consuming content or doing something with a mobile device as well. And it's carving out time to have like a complete disconnect. It's so important.
It is, exactly, yeah. Jamie, can you tell us about your career highlight or greatest success?
After the back of that, 2 to 3 years sort of hell that I went through, I completed that research project, okay? And as I say, I went and became an independent contractor for about a year or so. But as I left, I was given like a nice leaving gift. It was like in the form of some Amazon vouchers. I got a budget and I got a budget laptop, and that side project that I was working on, it started to grow arms and legs. And we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier on, but Twitter ran this initiative called Promote, and basically I submitted the product to Twitter, and it was a bit of a chance submission, but it caught their attention, and I was invited over to the States, and basically was asked to demo what I had built. And there was like cash prizes, and you had the chance to become an official partner and what have you. It was all pretty mind blowing, really. I never won, unfortunately. But what came out of that was like some good relationships, and I got access to internal private and beta APIs that I could fold back into the product that I was building, and that went on for 2 to 3 years. And I started to build up the product, and that was fun. And it was roughly about that point when the AI element started to really spike. I started to incorporate Microsoft Azure in the form of cognitive services, and I was able to like extend the product even more. And that led on to the MVP award in AI. So it was only through looking back that I could see how all those dots sort of joined.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
I didn't realize it at the time, but I was building relationships, I was building a product, and I started to write about it. And as I said, ultimately, this is what led to getting the MVP award in AI, which was cool as well.
It's interesting to hear how just doing one thing and then it's sort of progressing, and it sort of opens up new opportunities to make contacts and experience different things can just happen if you just continue to do and develop.
Oh, 100%, Phil, 100%. I look back in all of that and all of those activities, and at the time, there were days where it felt like it just wasn't going anywhere. And, I was doing all of this out with my regular 9 to 5 as well. So, and it was a good distraction from other things that were going on, because that was just the truth of it. But it's just amazing how that, one initiative, a research project can turn into a product, and a product can be turned into something completely different based on an initiative that a massive platform like Twitter had launched. And I would encourage anybody that's just starting out or is looking for ideas is just to like have a look online, because there's loads of initiatives out there, whether it be through Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn. There's loads of developer APIs that you can apply for access to and build on top of those. And more importantly, share what you're doing with the community.
I think that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, and I understand like people have reservations about putting their thoughts or pouring their thoughts into like an article or a tutorial or sharing code on the likes of GitHub. It's kind of like a big hurdle to get over, but there's books that help me kind of overcome those hurdles from the likes of people like Seth Godin and James Altucher. They've got written lots of books in and around that space about putting your work out there and putting your art out there and just building something and shipping it. And it ain't going to be right first time, and it ain't going to be perfect, but that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And Jamie, can you tell us what excites you about the future of the industry and careers in IT?
I'm biased here, right? But what I'm going to say is AI, not just because it's a hot topic right now, but as I say, it goes back to 2013, and especially what's happening right now. I had to go through quite a bit of pain to build out the the sentiment analysis routines and the algorithms to do the text classification things that I was interested in doing. But now you don't need to do the research. You don't need the PhD. You don't need to burn the time in figuring out how the algorithms work. You just pull this stuff off the shelf, whether it be through Azure Cognitive Services or IBM and Watson. And with a budget laptop and an internet connection, you can download free tools like Visual Studio Community Edition, and you can get free access to AI services in the form of Azure, and you can just plug them in directly. So I think for somebody just starting out, and I say this to quite a few people, really, like, it's for very little money, you can start building product that scales, and you can build MVPs, and you can just get your work out there, and you can build and iterate and see what sticks. And the thing that you're learning at the same time as well. For somebody that's just starting out, trying to get their first job, they can create a blog, they can document what they're learning, they could create a portfolio, and this is something that I wish I had actually done years ago.
Yep, and they're all great ideas and advice. Definitely, I think the portfolio thing is certainly one that people should really consider now, and a blog really should be a default.
Oh, totally. People might say blogs have had their day, and with people's attention spans dipping because of social media and what have you. I think blogs will always be there. I only started mine to help me kind of firm up my thoughts. My idea is that if I've learned something, if I can then write about it in a kind of structured way, it means that I understand it.
Yes.
And the next level up from that is being able to give talks about it. And that's something that I've recently started to dip into as well, which is like another level, really.
It is, yeah. The talks and the teaching in general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to go into the reveal round now. We're going to find out a little bit more about you and the way you think. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
So what first attracted you to a career in IT?
Okay, it goes way back. I think you opened up with it a little bit, and it was gaming and the computer, way back in the spectrum. And
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, Phil, but you used to get a tape in front of the magazines.
I remember far too well, yes.
Yeah, and these tapes would have demos of like the games. You'd only get one or two levels, and after playing those to death, I would get bored. I would flip over the magazine, and I seen there were code listings, and I would start to type them out.
Yep.
And I thought it was cool how you could just hack about with those simple little games, and that's what kickstarted it. And it went from Spectrum to Commodore 64 to Amiga, eventually to PC, and that was it really. And then I discovered that, well, actually, this is this could be a college course, and then a college course could be a profession. And then I was lucky in the sense that a hobby turned into a career and a profession. And
yes.
As cheesy as it sounds, a passion.
And what is the best career advice you've ever received?
I would say being able to evolve and adapt quickly and regularly. And that's not to say be slapdash, but just being able to keep up to date with what's happening in the tech world, and being able to identify what's a fad and what isn't.
Yeah, I suppose part of that is also keeping your mind open to alternatives and different ways of thinking about the same problem.
Yeah, that's so true. It's quite easy because in software it's quite common to standardize or build your own framework and to help you build and ship quicker and get the invoice out the door. But there comes a point in time where you can end up with a level of technical debt or an application that you just won't be able to migrate onto newer platforms. So I think it's important to have like an open mind as to what else is out there and what can add more value to your project or the systems that you're trying to build.
Exactly, yeah. And what is the worst career advice you've ever received?
I've been lucky in the sense that I'd say everybody that I've worked with has been pretty, everybody's been professional. But there's one thing that sticks in my mind, and it was just to smash it into production, right? And for anybody that just get it in, no matter what, like, and that the cavalier attitude, I'm sure it's a recipe for disaster. with time constraints, yes, but you got to test stuff. You got to follow process. You shave off time where you can, but don't just put stuff into production. Just don't. And these are things that you learn very early on in your career.
Indeed. It doesn't stop companies still doing it, though.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I've got a saying, like the ivory tower thinking often goes out the window when the invoice has to go out the door. Like that's
Yeah, or there's some sort of deadline with a meaning or a regulatory requirement or whatever it might be.
Yeah, you got to keep on top of the governance, man. You just got to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you were to begin your career again in today's world, what would you do?
I would have started a blog. Yeah, I would have started a blog, and I would have got over any anxieties or worries about publishing thoughts and ideas and sort of like code snippets. And I would have documented that journey, because if I had done that 20 years ago, I would have had 20 years worth of thoughts preserved
Yeah.
in digital ink up there somewhere, right? And it would tell even more of a story, and it probably would have helped me get my first job quicker.
And what career objectives are you currently focusing on?
What's keeping me busy right now is AI, cognitive services, and machine learning, building interfaces with social media giants like Twitter and Instagram. I'm busy building chatbots and doing, the odd speaking engagement where I talk about how AI can be used to surface insights and data. And in the coming months, I'll be looking towards creating developer how-tos and more content around, as I say, Azure Cognitive Services, and how developers can, use that to integrate AI into the software. Those are the kind of 3 or 4 key points that are keeping me busy at the minute.
Right. Okay. And what's the number one non-technical skill that has helped you in your career so far?
Looking at a problem and being able to identify the key components and any potential patterns, like before I'm even sitting at the desk in front of like the compiler or Visio. That's something that I feel that's always been there. It grows, it needs nurtured and it needs worked on, but that's really helped me, just being able to take a step back and think about all the moving parts. And that's one thing that's really, really helped me. The flip side is books and podcasts and all that sort of good stuff. And those help give me different perspectives. And finally, I'm saying 3 things here, Phil, rather than 1, but
that's fine.
But I'm just trying to add as much value as I can here. The third thing I would say is people, networking and get to know other people. It's the cliche, you're trying to build product and sell product. Like, people buy from people, don't they? But just building and growing relationships with people. Like, there's a human beside the email or the tweet or the message, and FaceTime with those people is important.
What do you do to keep your own career energized?
I read blogs, other developer blogs. I'm pretty active on Twitter. I follow some key techies on Twitter. That helps keep me up to date. Occasionally books. I'll look out online for developer initiatives. I've always got loads of ideas, and what I'll do is I'll try and write 4 or 5 ideas down in OneNote a day. I don't always get round to trying them out, just purely because of time constraints. So it's a combination of those things.
But it's getting those notes down, isn't it? That's the most important thing.
Yeah. It's getting the ideas down. It's quite how can I say, you get the ideas after you've read a blog, or you've read a couple of tweets, or you've seen a developer initiative, or even just a little YouTube clip or something. It sparks off some ideas, or even you'll get a developer update newsletter from some company, and then it'll just spark ideas. So just getting the ideas down is massive, and sometimes you can tease out mini projects from them. And you never know where that'll lead, because somebody else might be, you could throw that code up onto GitHub, right? And somebody else might just run with that and take it in a direction that you never thought was possible. And that's quite inspiring. So that keeps you energized.
And what do you do in your spare time away from technology?
I'm a family guy, man. I spend time with my kids, and I'm at the gym 3-4 times a week. And I've got a van that I take out into the country with the family. And when that happens, like the phone goes on airplane mode. So I don't have any data coming in at all. There isn't any notifications. There's no laptop. There's none of that. So I have a total disconnect, and that's what I like to do. I like to do that at least once a month. Just push the virtual reset button and just get away from it all. It's so important, especially in like today's connected world, like the notifications. And I read an article the other day there, and it says that they're spending between 3 and 4 hours a day on their mobile devices, and they've got between 5 and 7 apps that they dip in and out of. And that's just, you've got to unplug from it at some point.
Jamie, can you share a parting piece of career advice with the IT Career Energizer audience?
As somebody who's just looking to get into IT and into tech, get a domain name. And whatever tech stack you're involved in, start to, share what you're doing and what your thoughts are, and just get content out there. And if you're looking for work, it's a sure way to get people attracted to what it is you're doing, what your message is, and just get started. Don't be concerned about how far along you're getting along, or who's in front of you or who's behind you. It's too easy to, compare, especially with the likes of, you can get rough signals based on likes and shares and comments and all. Just run your own race and get started. Just get started.
Exactly, yeah. And finally, what's the best way we can find out more about you and connect with you?
Yeah, sure. So I've got a blog. It's jamiemaguire.net. And from there, you can connect with me. And I've got links to LinkedIn and Twitter and GitHub from that website. I'm happy if anybody's listening, if they get any questions about what I've spoken about on this podcast, for them to reach out to me to ask any questions. Just check out my website and drop me a note.
Jamie, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you, and it's been great to be on.
Hi, Phil here again. Now, if you thought about being a guest on the show yourself, or you have somebody in mind that might be a good guest, please do let me know. You can reach me on Twitter, where I'm at PhilTechCareer, or you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can even contact me through the website, which is itcareerenergizer.com. Thanks again for listening, and have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast. To find out more about building a successful career in IT, visit itcareerenergizer.com.